So we reviewed a background check and we talked about potential, I don't know,
We were in surprise.
yeah.
Personnel
yeah,
issue.
It was a
Personnel
personnel
issue.
question. All right. Back to business.
Mhm.
Let me just break my agenda for a minute. There is no other departmental head here. Bear Road contract though, that is in our, yes, well, there were 2 copies.
Oh,
Caroline said there were 2 copies,
oh,
and
we
so,
only signed one, didn't we?
yeah, Chris signed one, so this
Oh,
is just to
sorry.
get both copies signed by both parties, is my understanding, right?
I received 2 copies last week.
They weren't, that's the
Oh, okay.
point, yeah.
All right, so we didn't miss them.
No,
Perfect. All right.
no, it just happened. Okay, so we have signed the second copy of the Bear Road contract with Pike Industries. Thank you. American Legion sinkhole, I'll touch base with the superintendent there. His name escapes me at the moment. Make sure that it's all done, it's supposed to be done by this point. Tree on Highland Ave, what I can update the board on is that Jeff did go around, as I think this board knew last week, with Ed Hopkins from Urban Tree, and they cataloged the dead trees around town. That's all I know. And I think Jeff is going to get a quote on the Highland Ave trees. Transfer station, animal waste.
We had a conversation about manure last week, you must.
I'm just it's just one of those things.
So the question that we all had, or I think you had, and then we all had after, when trying to develop this new policy about domestic animals, was what about farms? What do they do when they come, farmers that may come in to dispose of manure? Per state statute, Jeff has to do something with it. And
So we must accept it.
And in guidance, and in compliance with statutes, he puts it, it's allowed to go into compost. Because manure is feces, urine, and,
Straw.
and straw, well, it actually lays out, it
Yeah.
has to be vegetable waste.
Yes.
So straw is one of them, that's listed, so that can go in there, so we don't actually have that issue. I mean, we were concerned we might have it. Well, we're opening ourselves up to another problem if we didn't specify. That's already taken care of.
Okay.
So if we want to keep doing some wordsmithing as to, buckets and that sort of thing, I'm fine with that. But-
Yeah, it was just, that was my only concern, was to make sure that it was absolutely clear that bringing a 50-gallon bucket was, especially if it was capped, was not going to.
Yeah, no, that doesn't cut it, right, so.
Doesn't cut it, so, I haven't looked at it recently,
It was, we didn't do anything further after you suggested that extra sentence, so.
did that work for you, Paul?
I thought
So are we ready to do a public hearing?
I'm not sure, can you pull it up by any chance? I know we can't broadcast it for folks, but maybe we can read it. Yeah, it's better to get it done sooner than later, I would think, so. Especially if you're one of the gentlemen that work at the transfer station, you want those settled sooner than later, I think. Wasn't gonna ask us
It's
to
not-
jump in the hot link.
Yeah, I don't have it in my transfer station area. So I wonder where it is.
I'll have it, let's see if I can pull it up on mine.
Although I do
I
remember.
thought I shared it with everyone, so.
Yes, and I remember putting
Where am I?
that comment. So what was I putting that?
Google
where
Docs
was I
ain't even
putting
open. I wanna review the minutes, let's see. Give me a second, I'll pull it up. Where do we get ordinances?
Oh,
Transfer
oops.
station, animal. Okay, so what we have is, the disposal of animal waste shall be limited to domesticated household pets and must be properly contained within a bag within other household waste. Waste that is not properly contained will not be accepted. And then I don't have your amended language. And what's on my things, what's shared with me, let's look. You shared it, so it's gonna be earlier in the month.
May 9th.
May 9th?
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Disposal of animal waste shall be sick. She added disposing of a large container of animal waste, either capped or uncapped, will be considered a violation.
So it's a little vague, because what's a large container? But it may be sufficient, it may not. So where did you find that?
I just Googled, well, not Googled, I
You
searched.
did the Google Drive?
Yeah, I searched in the Google Drive for animal
Animal
waste.
waste, okay,
And then animal waste amendment came up.
okay, excellent. So, I'll find it, I'm sure it's there, it's not in where I was expecting to see it, so let me make a note.
Now, a 5-gallon container is a paint container. Do you want it smaller than that? Because that could be a whole winter of dog poop.
We don't want any container, we want it bagged and contained within their regular garbage, right?
So, okay,
I think that's what the folks that work at the transfer station want especially.
so let's, I'll look it over again, please do look it over
Yeah.
again, and, we'll,
Do you want me to send it to you?
I'll find it, if you found it, I can find it, thank you, I just didn't.
Oh, no, animal amendment comes up, yep. The disposal of animal waste shall be limited to. Huh. It's just mine, but it's not the amendment that you used.
So what we need to do is find the place in the ordinance,
Yeah.
right? So let's,
Well, that was, there were two options, if I remember correctly. Let me pull up transfer station ordinance. There was, under definitions. It could go under, forgive me, section 1 definitions, H, proper disposal means, could go under that. It could go under I, solid waste means. It could go under section 2, in general use, under acceptable materials. I mean,
would you like to suggest it? Do you want me to suggest it? How would you like to proceed?
I would think that under, what section was it, section 2, general use, under what's acceptable, if you go to, hold on, let me find it for you.
What are you looking at?
I'm working on
We're
the phone
looking
here,
at the
so
transfer
sorry,
station
it's hard
ordinance, we'll
to,
hear it.
it's hard to get it all.
We
Okay.
have one,
Yes?
it's a Rollinsford ordinance.
Yes,
Oh,
certainly
yeah,
is,
oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's ordinance 93.1, I believe. So if you go under,
Oh, that's where I put the animal waste amendment, it's in the transfer station ordinance section.
well, that's, I just looked at it, it didn't pop up for me, so.
All right, so here's the ordinance. So definitions,
So it could either go under H or I, with the,
proper disposal. Okay,
or under section 2,
general use.
acceptable materials, so it could go under, not recyclable.
Oh, so let's put it here, I think,
So that's fine
I
by me
think
too.
this is
I
a
mean,
good, this is a good one, so, Jody, so this, the first one is definitions, but this is general, section 2 is general use, and so if you've got recyclables, if you've got paper, if you've got blah, 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 so we'll just add a section that says animal waste,
Sure.
and put that in there.
So that would be F.
Yes,
yeah,
EF,
could be-
yes,
Yeah,
okay, so I'll get that inserted in there,
schedule.
and, yeah. So that is what, what do we say, section 2, 1, F, let's say.
Why don't we do June 13th before? Just do it half hour before the meeting starts, right?
Yeah, so, well, we're not meeting next week, we need to see,
Oh, that's
we
right,
need
we're
to
not
see,
meeting
yeah.
next week. All right, so the following, the 20th then.
But shall we shoot for the 20th, assuming that on the 6th, we can see what the amended piece is?
20th of June?
June.
Yes. And have it at 6 o'clock, right? does that work, assuming that everything else falls into place here?
Sure.
All right, 6:20,
Give us plenty of time to get it noticed, I think.
6 o'clock, animal waste amendment to the zoning ordinance.
Yeah,
All
transfer station
right.
ordinance. Close.
I'm operating under a little
Close.
sleep.
Close.
You do have a zoning ordinance,
We certainly do,
do I get points for that?
yes, sure.
Thank you, Mike.
Do what I can.
all right.
Make sure it goes into them.
So we good then on that piece of it? All right, so let's talk about the Pinard proposal, because there are things kind of floating around here, just to get it all updated with the same kind of information. So I'm guessing that at last week's meeting, the problem was laid out.
We discussed, and briefly, what we discussed.
Okay. So my understanding of what has, so I read in the minutes that we wanted to ask Lamprey Regional
Yes.
what it would cost for us to, just so that we could factor that into any of these proposals if it became necessary. Are you able to,
And they will not give me an answer yet.
okay,
So.
what, did they cry? I mean, what was their,
Yes, so she says it was not that easy, let me find my email. Oh, I don't need that back, so I said, I'd like to put together a budget for next year, could you please give me buyout costs for local co-op so I can compare costs and show comparisons, thank you in advance.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Before we can really begin to answer the question, I need some clarification on your intent. Are you talking about leaving the trucking group or leaving the Lamprey completely? I'm co-copying Paul on this for his input, who is the chair. I said both would be helpful, thanks for your advice. And I haven't heard back.
yeah, it is true that there are some people who just don't do the hauling piece. They haul it themselves, I guess.
Yeah, like Somersworth is part of the co-op, but they're not. They say that they're like, he's like, I'm kind of like a stepchild still because they do their own hauling and stuff, but they're still part of the co-op. So, but they don't use the truck and everything
Mhm.
else.
And what's the latest on Northwood? Because they were another municipality, a municipality that was thinking of.
Northwood is still in. I haven't gotten an email back on anybody. We signed the contract for 2017, and that was all we had.
I mean, the only other comment, which doesn't, it's not an argument for or against, because it always comes down to numbers, but the contract that we will be, say, enjoying next year
Right.
has built in the cost decreases to make up for some of the overages that we've been living with for the last few years. So again, I mean, it's just something that we'll need to keep in mind. Caroline showed me a proposal today, I don't wanna show numbers or say numbers, and fortunately I don't remember them anyway. That for keeping up pretty much the same service that we have now, but a lesser monthly charge. And she's waiting to hear from some others, and so we've got things to think about.
Right. And one of the things that I found out when I was signing checks in your absence.
Yes.
Was that we don't have a cross-reference of, they send us a bill and they say they took 5 tons or whatever it is. We don't have a cross-reference that we sent them 5 tons. So we don't have a checks and balances system there. And I'm
So what would that look like, I guess? What, I'm not quite,
Just a
I hear what
spreadsheet.
you're saying.
A spreadsheet that somebody has on a clipboard over at the transfer station. Oh, the truck came on the 3rd, we sent out 5 tons of wet waste. The truck came on the 7th, we send out 12
Oh, I
tons
see.
of dry.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't know if it could be quite that detailed, I think it would just say 1 can, because we won't know how much it weighs until they actually weigh it, so we don't have a scale.
But still, it's a,
But at least we know the days that they
Yes.
came.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure they may have it, but they may have it at the transfer station.
yeah, no, that's, they may not.
So I was like, oh, I'm like, well, I could look into that. And,
Yeah,
you know, that's something easy enough that I could do and run down, because my husband does the garbage every Saturday, and I can just take a snapshot of the spreadsheet that they have and cost compare when the bill comes in monthly.
okay. Are there other concerns or questions that came up or that you've thought of since then about this issue?
I know, I just wanted to see new proposals and see what the buyout is, that's all,
Yeah.
before I even consider any more.
Yeah, I just wondered if the other questions, if you could come up with any other questions, or,
Do you want me to make a call to Valerie? Because I have a feeling I may get a fee.
it might be complicated enough so that it might, direct phone call might work, only because I can see where it could get sort of complicated. But, you know, the other thing is, I mean, it's not surprising based on some of the, you know, the articles that I sent I sent links to the board of articles to read that just talk about the collapse in the recyclables, solid waste costs or prices, et cetera, et cetera. So, commodities, there you go.
I knew you meant.
So it's consistent with what municipalities are experiencing out there. So we'll just see if we can figure out something that makes sense for the town based on this. You know, it's one of these frustrating things because it's a new, you know, still pretty new to the town is enjoying it, I think, and so it's just frustrating to think that we have to perhaps rethink that. All right, so we'll continue to keep on top of that situation.
Are they gonna extend our current contract? Because didn't they expect it?
We don't have the good question. We don't have the certified mail yet
Okay.
from Pennard. So under contract, they have to give us 2 months.
Mhm.
And so as of that certified mail announcing it, so as of this morning, we had not received that.
Haven't received it?
No.
Good.
Good for us.
All right. Anything else on the Pennard? Okay. All right, so let's go over department heads, so we'll go into town administration. Insurance, Primex is coming on Wednesday. I think we got an email from Caroline today.
Mhm.
All right, I'm hoping to be here. Is that tomorrow? It is
Yeah, tomorrow.
I am hoping to be here. I'd like to hear this. This is one of the unknowns in our budget. And so it would be helpful for us to have this become a known so that we can understand if we've got yet another budgeting problem to try to manage. So that's happening tomorrow. Renting rooms, do you have an update, Mr. Rollo?
I do, I've reached out to the person that placed the Craigslist ad. The property is at 476, 480 Church Street.
That would be the old sportsman's club.
The owner, the current owner, as you may recall,
Has wanted to do a number of things with that property.
Yes.
secondhand shop, was top of the person's list. There has not been
Any form of site review done to allow the renting of rooms there?
It may have been a practice that was done a number of years ago, several plus years ago,
But it's not something that the planning board, or from a life safety perspective, has been reviewed in any way in, the planning board chairman couldn't even guesstimate the timeframe. So, a long time is pretty much all he would say. So,
So what is the
he would
suggestion?
suggest that we need to reach out to the owner and, at the very least, Mr. Clark should look at the building. There's no occupancy permits that have been granted to rent space to, I mean, we don't know what it's like in there. It could be completely inhabitable. I mean,
Has it been used as apartments? Or has it been empty?
it's been empty for several years. So he believes at one time when it was still a bar, they rented rooms above, but it has been several years since that has happened.
So this is a new,
more than.
or reasonably new use for that space. So, I mean, I've seen cars there all along though, so,
Not there. You've seen cars next door, across the street. I mean, you may have seen cars parked there randomly,
yeah,
but,
but they're
I've
not
been-
necessarily associated with
yeah,
that building.
yeah. We don't believe, I mean, he and I have both gone by there several times, other reasons, but, sort of watching it only because we're wondering what's happening with that property or not happening with that
Yeah.
property. is it secure?
So we did mention this to Tom, we brought it to his, no, we haven't yet.
I only found out what the address,
Okay,
physical address
sorry.
was today.
Today,
The person
okay.
responded back to me today.
All right, so you're in the process of talking to the chair of the planning board.
I did have a conversation with him, and he would like us to initiate contact with the,
Building
Oh, no.
inspector.
well, with the building inspector, have a conversation with him first perhaps, and then reach out to the owner of the property.
All right, so he wants the town to do that.
Yes. And then the planning board can get involved with site review.
Okay.
That is something that happened, recall, Mr. Miller, who owns BOS Mtg, still had to go through site review, not the full site review, but, what do they call it, minor, I think they would call it, site review, even though that had been a garage, but it had not been an auto repair facility for, or even an actual garage, operating garage for several years as well, or more, actually. So he would suggest if we made Mr. Miller go through that level of scrutiny, the current owner of 476, 480 Church Street should also have to go through that.
476, 480.
476, 480.
So, so the board is good with my asking Caroline to pursue this and hopefully can have Tom invited out there to take a peek.
I think, yeah, we need to get Mr. Clark's input, and then we need to reach out to, depending on the conversation we have with him, we still need to reach out to the landowner.
Yes.
Because,
Well, I think I'll have her, yeah, we can have Caroline talk to the landowner first. We can't send Tom,
I'm not asking to send him out there, I just want to get his advice first, on how to proceed, that's all.
All right. Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
Mr. Clark,
He's very helpful.
Mr. Glidden, and Chief Rutherford, all as representatives of life safety, public health entities within the town should be involved more than likely, I would think, with that property.
All right, so I will do that. Okay. Anything else on that one?
That's enough.
That is enough.
I'm up next.
You are, disposal of debris. So I was very confused about where this was happening and,
You and me both.
so
I had a
please.
conversation with the gentleman, Bill Slater, from, Tri-City
I said
Trailblazers.
trailblazers.
And asked him where exactly these tires were found, and what upgrades they were doing, and where they were doing it, and under what authority they were doing it.
Mhm.
And he's dropping off tomorrow, apparently a board of selectmen, I think he said in 2004, unbeknownst to any of us sitting here, because we sat through several public hearings on
Scoutman.
ATVs and Scoutman, and this never came up, but apparently a prior board, and I think he said 2004, he's gonna produce the letter tomorrow, signed an agreement with this club that gave them access from Wentworth Douglas Hospital, from where Rollinsford begins, to about 300 feet down what is now Shady Lane, a class 6 road, to gain access to the private property that they have a trail network on back there.
All right, so they're gonna bring that by. Okay, maybe it's
And so-
possibly in there even?
No, it's not. He called me back around 4:35 today. He said, I finally found it. I've talked to him previously, yesterday, today. And he's gonna drop it off tomorrow, so we have it with a map, the letter. It's on our property either way. It was in the road, so they've cleaned it up, they wanna be able to dispose of it. I think just like on Fresh Creek, and did we recoup costs on Fresh Creek?
No, no.
Not Fresh
because-
Creek, I'm sorry, on Banyan / Wentworth property there, the dog farm right there.
Yes, well, I don't know. We
So
didn't,
that-
get the follow-up. He was going, he thought he would.
Okay,
That's the
so,
recent one.
yeah, I mean,
So,
I want
so
to
we
do this
can
letter,
do,
but still, I mean, they've cleaned it up for us.
well, yes, so there are two issues. One is the disposal of the tires.
Right,
How many
right.
tires are there?
I don't know, I don't remember.
I mean, it's
doesn't say.
tires that are on our property, so is there any
Cross a
objection?
number, it says a number of tires and other debris.
Yeah, I don't remember what the other debris was.
Does the board want to just accept this at the transfer station without cost?
We wanna get an accounting, I think. Maybe we can ask Caroline to ask Mr. Slater tomorrow what exactly they're talking about. If you did mention it, I don't remember, I apologize. I was just sort of dumbstruck that a whole other agreement
Yeah, it
around
existed, yes.
ATVs exists that never came up when we were talking about this for almost 2 years.
This OHRV,
Off-road,
Um,
I don't know,
Off-road recreational,
What is the H?
off-highway recreation.
Off-highway recreational vehicles, yes. Thank you.
There are a number of ways to refer to these things, I don't know what the
That's
current one
the
is actually.
OHRV,
Is it?
yeah. So, but he also did mention that urban tree, the city of Dover allows urban tree to dump stumps and other, I don't know, debris over the side, over on Dover's land. And Ed was explaining to us that Dover owns a portion of that. And while they were out there cleaning the debris up, urban tree came, and instead of dumping it where they're supposed to, was dumping it so it was landing in the,
Rollinsford.
yeah, so, yeah, it was a good thing, I guess they were there to stop them, but that's also something to keep in mind, that if we find more debris on, of a certain nature, we may actually know where it's coming from, so, in the future. I don't think they're dumping tires, but they're stumps,
No,
yes,
it's
but,
stumps.
you know. So anyways,
Okay, we can have Caroline follow up with
so
that.
the plot thickens, anyway,
Yes, okay.
so.
All right, so we won't do anything until we'll ask Caroline to get an accounting, so do you wanna know what's being done before we say it's okay to dump?
Yeah,
All right,
I mean,
all right, so we can do that.
and they've been very upfront, I mean, I don't think they're trying to sneak a tire or two in, but it would be nice to know, at least, we can let Jeff know, the folks down at the transfer station, that there's a trailer full of tires coming, and there might be a refrigerator on top of it, you know, who knows what's down there, I don't know.
Okay.
That's what they found down on the Dodge Farm Road, so who knows?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Shall we go on?
yes, please.
All right, building inspector role. So, Tom checked in with me, you know, we've had, there's been, I don't know if I can call it a conversation, but we know that he's looking for a
Did you
role with
skip?
us.
I don't have it.
did you skip something?
Building inspector,
tree cutting water.
oh, maybe I added this.
You must
Tree
have added
cutting, this is D, tree cutting letter is E.
No,
No, not on ours.
Sorry.
This is
D, I have D, building inspector role.
You're
Okay,
gonna have
sorry.
to change yours to another letter, because we all have something else.
Yeah,
All right, building inspector role.
call it any letter you'd like. So,
Okay, so building inspector role.
So, so Tom's tenure with the city of Dover is fast approaching an end, and he is now more seriously looking for, maybe formalizing another kind of role with the town, other than the $50 every time he does something, which could be a benefit to us and to him as well. So I, said I'd be happy to chat with him, have preliminary conversations, bring him back to the board. Does that work with the board? Okay, I
Usually
think
for next budget year, though, I mean.
perhaps, or perhaps
Or we
there's
can
the
work with an
opportunity.
existing
I don't
line,
really,
yeah.
I don't know if he has any ideas. If you have any ideas,
I don't.
okay, we'll just see what comes of this, and we'll just review them,
I
okay?
mean, we had considered having having him on retainer for X amount of dollars, and he would just come,
Mhm.
but the conversation didn't really go anywhere, so maybe that's what he wants to
Exactly, so
revisit, that's fine.
that's, he just, yes. I don't know what will come of this, but I'll bring this back to us. All right, so that will happen maybe next week, it's not this week. So I think it's sometime next week perhaps. All right, now we're back onto the agenda as you see it, and that is the tree cutting letter. And I think that is on hold as well because,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
this is the letter to the tree cutter in, the Chinburg development.
Oh,
We
I
were
know what you're
writing a
talking about.
template
Okay,
about
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
So what Caroline has, she's found out more information, and there's something in our folder about, the various, conditions or restrictions based on how far away you are from the river. So it's not as clear cut as we originally thought, so the letter as we originally worded it may not be quite correct.
right.
And
Right.
so, so her advice was there were two things. One, we should, become familiar with this, the environmental fact sheet, vegetation maintenance within the protected watershed, that's one. And two is, we're waiting for Andrew to come back so that she can ensure that in fact the deeds that are being recorded mention something about the, protected watershed.
Now, a resident last week brought up, the meetings that she sat through throughout the Chinburg development process, that as part of the agreement with Chinburg and the town, that they were supposed to erect signs that said no cutting, something about easements, not whatever, I don't know what the sign is supposed to say. And has agreed to, when she has time, to look at the past planning board minutes.
Oh,
Because they're
wonderful,
not online.
wonderful, that would be good.
So
Thank you.
to her for that.
Yes, thank you very
So
much.
that could be another tool.
Yeah, yeah.
If these signs are in fact supposed to be up.
Yeah.
Now
then
granted,
we
they've
can-
only sold 2 or 3 houses, I get that, but, or 2 or 3 lots, but still.
No, we should
You
know.
could say that at the completion of the project, who knows?
Yes.
I don't know, but she's agreed to look for it. Very nice of her.
All right, national able candidate. So, I guess this topic came up last week, because if I read the minutes correctly. So, Caroline is going to set up an interview with, this person.
Yes, she sent out an email today.
Okay, so, I mean, I'll try to be there if I can, otherwise we'll try to get one of the two of
I
you.
don't know
Is
what
that-
the date was that
I don't
she
know, does
suggested,
she
you know.
actually?
I didn't see a date.
I think it's just general, she wants to do that. I don't think we have a date. I agree with Jody.
I don't see a date.
Yeah.
I don't remember, I couldn't remember.
Resume this morning.
She suggested one or no? Okay. Depending on what it is, I could be available.
Okay. So
I haven't
we'll
seen the email.
we'll send it out when we have a date.
Right, I'm perfect on that.
Okay. All right, the brownfield survey, so, this came up sort of as I was leaving, I guess, Stratford Regional actually had some kind of form. Did you fill it out? Thank you very much. Do we wanna see it?
It was pretty generic. The only thing, it asked like, were there any liens? Have we researched, did we put a lien on it? Does it have to anybody else? As far as I know, the town has always owned it.
Yeah.
And I
That's
don't think we would do a title search on our own property.
Right.
Not
So good,
applicable.
Yeah.
so.
All
I
right,
just wanted to double check
super,
with
so
you
we'll
before
pass,
we nailed it
yeah,
down.
so we'll have her scan it, can you just put
Perfect,
out
thank you.
scan?
Yeah.
And send, and she can file it on our server.
Oh, and I didn't know what you wanted the site name to be. Did you want the actual?
Old highway shed with the address, I guess. That would work for me, so. Another update is, as you recall, she was looking for, one of us, or someone with some information and background to meet with, SRPC and their contractor. And we've settled on Chief Ducharme
Makes sense.
as somebody who was here at the time and who knows some background information on that, so is that good with the board?
Yeah, if he's willing to do it, that's great.
And so they do have a date, I know, it's one of those 3 dates.
Yeah,
I
so,
think it
yeah,
could be the
warrant, right?
31st. Could be the 31st. Okay. Main Street, property next door. When I was at the town hall this morning, we not yet received the recommended language from our building inspector. And so what Caroline is asking the board is, do we wanna post his recommended notification on the door, or do we wanna see it next, well, it's gonna be 2 weeks from now before we post it? Oh, do we know, where did you find this, by the way?
In the folder?
In the
It's the
folder?
magic folder?
Yeah, I said it would be in the folder.
Oh, okay.
I think
Alright.
she sent an email out about it.
Oh, okay, just today?
Yesterday or today, I don't know. They're all blended together.
Town of Rollinsford Deputy Health Officer has deemed this building to be uninhabitable. Occupancy is prohibited by the order of the Deputy Health Officer of the Town of Rollinsford, under the authority of blah, blah, blah. Structure must remain vacant until brought into compliance with minimum housing standards. Okay, so we good with this?
I think it's awesome. Works for me.
All right,
Let's post it.
Can
okay.
you put multiple copies on the building, like one on each resident?
I would say
Probably
on
one at each door,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll, thank you, we'll let Caroline know.
So as part of that also, I don't see it on here, it must have fallen off the agenda, but there's also the garbage issue that was been cleaned up, so.
Yes, good point. The garbage has been cleaned up. We can write that into the public record
And by the owner.
by the owner, yes.
Yes. He sent photos.
Yep, he sent us photos. All right. All right,
And
town,
is Caroline gonna do that notice?
it could be the building inspector who does it, but we're gonna ask her to make sure it's on each door. I think our deputy health officer will actually put it up. We'll have it see your building
Who's also
inspector.
building inspector. I think part of this though is whether or not we wanted to accept that as our, if there are other properties we need to do that for, that's our new uninhabitable form.
Oh, I see, as a general
Yeah,
purpose.
and I'm fine with that as well, I think it's great.
All right, by consensus then, are we happy with this notice as our general purpose? Do not, you can't live here anymore without,
Basically.
all right, I will tell her that as well. All right, thank you. Town hall repairs. So my understanding of where we are, you may have more advanced information, but that we are anticipating that the funds that we put aside to do the siding, wherever that is probably not gonna be sufficient, largely because we need specialized equipment because it's up high in the building. So Richard is still, our maintenance person is still getting quotes on that. I thought I had added it to here, I didn't. So let me just bring this up then, it's sort of related to this. I'd like to sit down with Caroline at the end of next week, I think that was the first day we had available, to look at the current budget from do we need to recast other things, how we worked on the roads? So at that point, we'll have I think we'll have a better idea on the Primex, we may get quotes in on this. And so we'll take a look at that and make a proposal to the board regarding where we stand and what we might need to, any money we might need to move around. All right? Super. Town hall repairs. So for Salmon Falls Family Fun Day, we're gonna continue to table that until we get a carrier so that we know
So,
what that
I
carrier
guess
is.
I'm still kind of confused with the liability insurance issue.
Yes.
So the entity that we're renting, or not we, the nonprofit organization that is Family Fun Day, isn't able to use the liability insurance from the landowner that the land are utilizing for the.
We don't know that for sure.
Okay, I
We
guess
don't-
I
yeah,
was
we
still
don't know that
confused,
for sure.
so.
For example, the garden club, when we had our new board, we came to the town and worked with them to make sure that even though we were an actual 501c3, I don't believe Family Fun Day is that yet,
Right.
to ensure that when we're doing things on town property, that the property liability piece of the town comes into play, and it did for us. So nonetheless, for a special event, maybe they would recommend the event insurance, we don't really know.
Right, okay.
And they may be covered, so it's just a question of pursuing it, just to make
Right.
sure that
But
everybody's.
it's interesting, because what do they do when they host weddings down
They get event insurance.
there? So
Yeah.
each individual has to have event insurance. Well, that would
Well,
then-
the Legion recommends that, and that's what they had said to me when I chatted with them earlier in the winter.
Interesting, okay.
So part of it is on the Legion ground, part of it is on our grounds.
Right.
So, at minimum, we can at least see what they recommend as far as how to manage that. That's where we are with that. It's usually not very expensive, but having said that, I don't know what that means. I mean, I think
Right.
it could be just as little as a couple $100.
Yeah, I don't know.
A couple $100 is a whole bunch of it at this moment.
Right, but perhaps there are ways that the town could subsidize part of that, or, we could think about that.
Right.
Okay, Caroline is still pursuing the Gannon Hill Road,
Mhm,
shared driveway issue.
mhm,
Community member letters,
mhm.
one of them has been, oh no, never mind. So the Merrill letters, so I started, when I was away, I actually started a response.
Mhm,
I haven't finished it, but here's my understanding. My understanding is that the board, us,
mhm.
we neither bless nor, we have nothing to say about whether or not these little boats are in the river.
Right.
So, do you
The
know?
state's waterway.
Funny, you should say that. I was looking up something today, and the minutes from the boat race from 2014 say that the gentleman had come in for their boat race that year, and suggested, the question was the boat ramp, actually. The boats do not go over 92 decimals, which is the state limit. The group does have a permit from the state, and they use the American Legion property for their permission. So, and it's a courtesy for them to come to the board and let us know.
Yeah, that's
That was
exactly
my
what my letter
understanding.
says,
Yeah.
because that's what it's
And
been in the
that's
past.
from 2014.
Exactly. Did they come to us this year, by the way? I can't remember.
I haven't seen it.
So I
They
don't
came
think
last
we
year,
didn't
remember that?
know even, right?
No, I didn't know.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So, but in any event, we really don't have any oversight. So I'm drafting a letter that kind of says that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when I'm done, I'll run it by this.
I mean, I understand the frustration, I don't much care listening to them either, but, and I can hear them over in my house too, but
Mhm.
we don't have the authority to prohibit it, so I don't.
And it's a one-day thing.
I
It's
read
just like
you feel
my
bad.
house gets cut off by the soapbox derby every year.
Mhm.
It's just one of those things, and they use a microphone, and at 7 in the morning, they're yelling out little kids' names, and,
Yeah.
you know, it's just one day.
Yeah.
You know, and so you embrace it, and you go down, and you know, enjoy the moment, and enjoy the kids, and
Shall
so.
we ask Tamara here what she'd like to?
I just want to give a little bit more history on that. When this became an issue was they actually came and had their international, like, jamboree one year, and it went on for more than a week, and there were campers, and it was quite invasive down there, and the concern was that if that became a regular thing, it wasn't just a one, so yes, the one-day thing, I can, agree with what Jody said, but it really became more of an issue for the neighbors. Was this going to be regularly allowed where people were staying in campers and there's cars all over the road, for an extended period of time?
When I got on the board, that particular event had happened like a year or two before, so
Right.
it was quite recent at that point.
Right.
And I remember when he came to talk to us, he said that they were not doing that. There was something, it was too much for that club, and that club was not
Right.
going to host that event.
Right.
And that was that, I mean, people can change their minds too, but that was what he said then, so, so it looks like, at the moment anyway, they're going to be these one-day kind, it's not even a weekend, was it one day a
I
week?
think it's just one day.
When you respond to the abutter though, or the person who's complaining, you may want to inform them of that because some of their concern is based on that event.
Yeah, good point.
So
Thank you.
that's why I'm bringing it up.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And this one, 2014, says it goes on from 9 AM to 4 PM.
Okay, thank you.
And so, but I don't want
Yes.
to beat a dead boat, but, they don't use any of our land, right?
They use a public boat ramp. They get permission from the American Legion, and they're in the Salmon Falls River.
I just wanna make sure that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good question.
Can I say another thing about that? Because at the time that it came up, when they were using the whole thing for the week, there was a huge discussion that went on about the concern that the town doesn't really know what they own and about the liability issue. And nobody could produce a map, or nobody really seemed to know, and as far as I understood, that boat launch and everything beyond it is town property. So if someone fell off the right-hand side of the boat launch and landed on that piece of land, they'd be on town property when they broke their leg, and we'd be liable. And the debate went round and round and round, and nothing ever got resolved from it. So if we're on the subject of Family Fun Day and liability and granite fence posts falling on people's legs and breaking them like happened last year at Family Fun Day, we might wanna put that to rest and finalize the understanding of what part we're liable for.
Thank you. You still may not know who owns what, but,
Right.
okay, thank you, appreciate it. Let me make that note though, hang on.
I'll forget your next.
Yep, Primex, where's Primex? Okay, thank you. All right. The Cloutier letter, and that is, oh, is that the Wisnet?
I went
Can you,
there.
all right, can you, would you lay that out then,
So-
first, please, Mike?
There's a property on Pine Crest Lane, which if you're not familiar with Pine Crest Lane is across the street from Chili's in Dover. That for a number of years, we've had some issues with unlicensed businesses and chickens and neighbors not liking chickens and neighbors not liking neighbors. And chemicals being stored there and commercial vehicles being stored there. Now, the new rub is, or it could have been an existing rub that, and I think the letter from Mrs. Cloutier is suggesting that she had brought this up previously. I don't remember this
I
part.
remember that, yeah.
Other parts I remember distinctly.
Since I've been on the board, this person has not addressed this board.
No.
No, there've been
Okay, it's the
other
first time.
folks, yeah, there've been other folks bringing this to our attention, but
Not
not,
on Pinecrest,
not
Not this year, I don't think.
yeah,
not
but
unless,
it
since
I
was-
I.
haven't taken any notes on
Okay.
it.
Okay,
It was
when
the
she
person-
said that she had told us before, I was like, this is new.
yes, it was Gary Fieldson, who lives,
On Kelwin, or
was
whatever
on
Kelwin's called now.
yeah.
I don't remember what they
He
changed.
had, he had come to us, and it was before either of you, to
Okay.
bring this to our attention. He showed up with Pat Macklin, I think,
Hmm.
and I don't know what the board,
I should have taken pictures today. So now they have box, not box, but those giant like storage boxes.
like pods, you mean?
Yeah, pods, but like the one that was over on,
Moving parts.
by the cemetery there that was there forever.
The one that we had to have them
Legal
right,
counsel go
yeah, yeah,
after.
okay,
They
yeah.
have those,
Rent a pod or something.
yeah, it looks like they have bulldozed, there's a conservation easement that runs between the backyard of number 18
Is
and
that
all the
theirs?
others.
Is that wisdom?
Yeah, that's them.
Okay.
And the folks that are on Kelwin. So
Okay.
there's an easement that goes from, what is that, whatever the road in Dover is, that Chili's is on, I don't know the name of it. And into, not Central Avenue.
High Street.
It's called Weeks Crossing Road.
What's this?
High Street.
No, there's
That's
a
Summer
crossroad between. Central Avenue's here, there's a little cut-off road,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. yeah.
and what else?
Weeks Crossing.
So, is it?
Could be,
Okay,
yeah.
sure, Weeks Crossing, great. Okay, so there's an easement that goes from there all the way straight back to the larger piece of conservation property
Yeah,
that's behind it.
yep,
It looks like, depending on where the easement actually begins, and there are signs up that say this is a private easement, blah, 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 on the Kelwin side and on the Pinecrest side, behind people's houses. They have bulldozed part of it up, so they can make room for their pots.
so they've done some
Now-
excavation work,
It's shocking, I know.
some building permit?
Yeah, so, and it could have been done years ago, I don't know. Although it looks rather fresh, but, it could be well in their property, but it looks pretty darn close
To the easement.
to the easement. So, I would think that the folks that hold the easement, and I don't remember who it is, but it's on their sign, I should have taken a picture, I apologize. I had Elizabeth in the car and it was raining when I got out. Should reach out to this property owner, because they're the ones encroaching on their easement, not on ours. I mean, we don't hold the
Mhm.
easement, so.
Yeah.
And I
Okay, so
don't
is
remember
that,
who it was, but
should we, is this a case where Tom might be the best person to take an overall look at this? He may have done it in the past,
I think the folks that hold the easement should go on.
but are there other issues though? not associated with these?
Oh, with the,
It sounded like there were other things.
it's too close to the property line for sure. They can't have those pod things within, was it 25 feet or whatever? 25 feet, I believe. That's the issue we ran into on, can't remember the name of the road.
Yeah, that little road, yeah, that little
Garbage
road,
issue
yeah.
Are they concerned, I forgot that, you know, they're
I thought-
concerned with the business aspect as well.
Yeah, there were, I think there were a bunch of, do you have the letter right
There
there?
are unresolved issues that we've been dealing with legal counsel on that, so I don't wanna
Yes.
get into them.
Yeah, well, yes, we did put this on hold
Yes.
last year, so I'm wondering if maybe in preparation to taking it, before we take it up again with legal, that maybe we should ask Tom to go take a look at it and see what advice he has for proceeding?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. Was that a reluctance there, or?
No, I just don't wanna get us too far involved, because the easement, the issue of encroaching on the easement really is whoever holds the easement.
Right, that's right, so there are two issues then, right? There's the issue of, well,
Yes,
one,
well, let's just
one,
stick with
okay,
two.
one can look at it this way, there's a problem or set of problems associated with the easement, and there's a problem or set of problems associated with the rest of their property. So
Correct.
so we'll talk to the easement folks about that
Correct.
one,
Correct.
and then we'll ask Tom to look at the set that's
Yeah,
on, is that,
I agree with that.
okay. All right,
It's a never-ending issues at 18 Pinecrest Lane.
okay.
Where is 18 Pinecrest in relation to the road?
It's near the Dover line. It's
Third
close-
house on the left.
It's close to the Dover line.
That's all I want to. It's kind of new.
They just remodeled.
It has been
Remodeled.
I know.
remodeled
Okay.
extensively, so,
So, because the house at the end has that easement, right?
so,
How did
so the entire, so if you're on Pinecrest, and you're driving down Pinecrest,
Yeah.
all the houses on the left-hand side, behind it has an easement running directly behind their house. So to
And
access,
Kelwin is somewhere,
yeah, and Calhoun in the back, exactly, exactly,
yeah, okay.
yes.
Spruce or whatever.
So,
Right.
so one set of problems could perhaps be taking place here, in which case we want to find out the owners of the easement and have them
Take a
follow
look
up
at
on
it,
that.
right.
And I believe the easement belongs to the people that have that last house,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I see, I see.
I think
It
they're property.
has the name of,
Of a trust?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
that owns it.
All right,
It's-
well, it should
It's
be,
a known quantity
it
to
should be on
us.
record, we should be able to easily determine this, right?
Well, yeah.
Just check our files,
Yeah.
All right, just
Yep,
pull it up.
okay, pull it right up.
pull it right up, okay, excellent.
I'm thinking about it again, I'll go back, I should take a picture of the sign.
But there is a sign in it?
There are several signs that
Oh, okay,
say,
well, that's
the
good.
easement begins, so it looks like they did in fact bulldoze up over the easement, so.
Oh, let me write that down, I didn't cut that.
That's pretty darn close to it.
Okay. All right, so that's that letter.
So if you go down, if you wanna go
But
down and look at it, it's actually, go down Calhoun
Okay.
and take a right. And it's not Calhoun anymore, we just
It's
changed the name
Mountain
of it.
View or Spruce
Whatever,
Lane or.
Spruce Lane, you're right.
Spruce Lane.
So it was Spruce Lane dead ends. And so there's house on the left, house on the right, right and left. Directly at the end of that dead end is the backyard of number 18. And that's where all the neighbors on Spruce have been complaining about. It's all open, you can see all of the stuff that's going on. The General Linen truck that's there, what used to be a General Linen truck, all the stuff, so.
So I saw that you responded to Cloutier,
Just that I'd gone,
Yes,
just so
which is
she knew
fine.
that I went
Yeah.
over it.
Okay,
I think that's what she was looking for, she wanted somebody
yeah,
to go over.
okay, so good, so we don't, she knows that we've been apprised and, that's good, all right. All right, I don't, we have our policy date, for review, which is not policy.
July.
Compliance issues, I wanted to bring up Rogers Auto Body.
We skipped assessing issues. We all-
Oh, are there assessing issues?
It's
There,
still on ours, if you took it off.
yeah, no, I haven't taken it off, it's just, it's one of these that's sort of perennially tabled
We
until
we
there's
took
something
care
to
of
say.
all the
Did you sign all of the?
Yeah, they're all in here, they apparently haven't made it in yet, but
Okay,
they're in there.
okay, all right. Yeah, no, I didn't have anything
Okay.
particular, although it was interesting what Ed brought up about taxes from the city of Dover.
Yes, I wrote that, I made a note of that.
And just by way of getting this into the public record, if you recall about, I'm not even sure if you were on the board, clearly, Jody, we sent out a letter to the city of Dover, or the city of Dover got back to, the school board of the city of Dover got back to
Fresh
us
Creek.
with regard to that Fresh Creek and say, well, we don't think this is our property, we don't wanna pay taxes on it. And so we said, we wrote a letter, said, fine, we'll take it over, we'll take
You
the,
no
we'll
longer
take the
have
land
access
back,
to it.
but you don't, no longer have access. And so they, oh, well, wait, we'll touch base with our attorney or something. Well, there's never been a response, and so they have been paying their taxes.
Oh, they have?
Yeah, I asked
Shocking.
them, yeah, so, just,
Well, that worked out well.
I just, you know, that, I was surprised with that the other day, so I thought I'd
Perfect,
bring this
thank
to the board.
Roger's on it.
Rogers Auto Body, so, this is on Foundry,
Yeah,
and his particular property backs up to Sandy Bank,
yes.
and there's some, like, sort of trashed vehicles back there, or at least a trashed vehicle that,
Crane back there too.
there is a crane, I don't know who's, but the vehicle that's back there, and there may be more than one, is possibly in Sandy Bank, it's unclear. So I don't know exactly how to proceed with this, but, whether this is something we want Tom to look at. And I will also say that, you know, in looking at the backside of the building, there's been a lot added up, which could all be perfectly fine, it may have come by before this board, I was just noticing that. But it was the vehicle that way back down into this little ditch or gully that could be in Sandy Bank.
So what we would need
What
to
is
do,
Sandy Bank?
Sandy Bank, so if you are traveling along Locust Street on your way to the school, such that the school is going to be on your right, on your left, before then, if you look, there's some trees and stuff, and there's even a little, you can tell that there was a former road. So, my understanding is that there were ball fields somewhere in there, I mean, this is in a skating rink. It's not, I don't get it, because it seems to be like this steep thing.
and we throw that in.
Well, I don't know about before that, But-
Touring.
but I've heard from my working on the garden club just recently, when this topic came up, is that when the young men wanted to start a community garden, they had come to the board to ask them specifically about Sandy Bank.
Hmm.
And the board at that time said, oh, no, I don't think so, because stuff has been put there. So, you know, I don't want anything more specific than that, but it happened,
It was a town dump at one time.
well,
That told us.
yeah, see, I think it happened after it was a ball, so there was this
Was
time
it
when it
dumped
was,
after that too?
there was this time when it was a ball field and a skating rink.
Mhm.
My understanding is that after that no longer happened, that they sort of were using it to dump some things. What those things are, I don't know, but I know that the board really discouraged the garden club from using that for a community garden.
Do we know who dumped that thing?
It could have been the town.
Hmm.
So, we've got us on this, so anyway, so that's Sandy Bank.
There's cars back there.
And it's about 6 acres. It's about 6 acres of town land,
Between those two roads?
yeah.
Wow.
And there's at least this one white vehicle that I've seen that could possibly be in Sandy Bank.
Well, we would need to pull up the lot, so we can look on the maps and try to figure it out from there. See if the Sandy Bank,
So we
space that
could,
we own.
we could
It's
call
marked
him,
off.
we could have Caroline call him and see what he says about that.
I guess. It may very well be on his property, so.
In which case, I don't
We wanna
know,
look
there's
at
still an
other
unregistered
stuff.
vehicle,
There's more than one there.
right, and he may have
He's
more
not
than
the only
one.
property.
So,
We're worried about that before we're worried about the other houses with.
no, we're
emergency
still,
vehicles.
there could be a letter, there could be a letter.
There's a
I'll
few,
look in my magic folder.
there's a junkyard operating on Plymouth Road at the moment illegally, so that we
Mhm.
need to do something about sooner or later. If not, we're gonna be accepting it. Passively accepting it.
I don't think that falls in the town's purview. Is that
I
possible?
don't know, but
You could be right. All right, so we won't put that on the top of the list, but at least we've let the board know about that possibility. All right, that's the only, let me go back to the menu. All right, so board member activities and updates, anything going on this week?
last week, the historic committee met for a second time. We elected Chris Benedetto chair.
Excellent.
I was very happy with him as chair. We're going to start working on a couple of projects, one of which, we're still working out the finer details, of course, for all of this, but we're looking to work with the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance. They have a program for inventorying old barns in their town, which we thought was a great way of building community spirit, getting the school kids involved.
Excellent.
We have Tamara looking into getting the details from the Preservation Alliance. We have tentatively slated an evening with Joe Cowett, interviewing Joe and having folks talk to him and asking questions about
Great idea.
the town's history and his 80-plus years of residence here. I've yet to actually connect with him to talk to him, even though he seems to be home all the last week, but maybe not.
Are you able to use Google Drives for the minutes and stuff like that, or the meeting notes? Okay,
I
super.
don't know. But we have a wonderful note taker, and I'm sure she takes great notes, and I'm sure she's not a great.
I'll check with Tina to make sure that they're.
And there's one other thing I'm not remembering. Colette? Barnes?
Pump house, maybe? The pump house?
A pump house. So, many, many years ago, behind the mills, sat a little brick building, that's called Pump House.
Where is it again? I'm sorry, where are you?
It's
Well,
actually
It's
wood.
actually at,
It's
at
made of
Sherman's
wood, it's made of,
backyard now.
it's made of wood, it's not brick, it's wood.
It's wood? I thought it
Yeah,
had a
no,
brick.
it's wood. It's sat on a brick base, but it's wood.
A little wooden shack was the Pump House.
And where is it again?
Is at Ed Charpentier's house, because they used to sit behind the mill, and there was concern that either vandals were gonna push into the river or it was gonna collapse. And so to save it, the previous historic committee, and Ed Charpentier, who actually won, I'm assuming, who wanted to save this piece of town history, moved it to his backyard. Chris brought this up because he works with Ed frequently on cemetery issues. And it was suggested that maybe we should find another place for it besides Ed's backyard. I mean, it needs some maintenance for sure, but we're hoping to get some folks together to volunteer to make necessary repairs. One of the suggested locations, because it's fire related, it's a pump house, would be at the fire station. And there is the little grassy area next to the fire station to the right. It may fit there, so.
To the right if you're looking at the fire station?
Correct. So the historic committee is going to come forward eventually and talk to the board of selectmen and the fire chief to see if there was any interest from the fire department of having it moved there. And mostly asking their assistance in the road to get it there, but, yeah.
All right, excellent, well, thank you.
And
Anything
we discussed other things about cataloging and that sort of thing.
Okay,
Those are the big things that you might be
excellent.
most concerned about. But
Any other board member,
That's weight loss on June 6th, Monday morning.
okay.
And we will be going over workman's comp. And the rec committee has not met.
Okay,
So, and looking over the paperwork, getting ready for it, they have, the conservation commissioners were supposed to be appointed like, the rec commissioners were supposed to be appointed like conservation commissioners on alternating years. So moving forward.
the commission now, Park and Rec's
Right, we
commission,
have two, and we keep appointing them every year.
yes.
They're supposed to be on a rotating
A
basis.
two-year term?
I believe it's 3, let me double check.
Oh, I see, so we should have three,
Mhm.
and they each have a three-year term that rotates, okay, that would be good to know, thank you.
So, and since it's a commission, should we be meeting, and they've, every everybody's been doing a great job on everything that their niche is on, so we haven't brought everybody together yet. So how far do you wanna push this?
Well, I think
Like-
the board's interest,
Like, we wanted them to come together.
well, I would
That's
say,
July, or
I would,
June.
I would say, this is just me speaking here, because I may not be recalling what the board actually did. My thought was to have a clear picture of the duties of the commission, and terms of service would be super to have, and also then of the committee, so that both sides knew what they were doing.
Right.
With regard to the committee, my own, again, this is personal, was to try to bring together these very small little groups to see if they could leverage one another's resources and
Right.
talents and perhaps provide a unified budget to us.
Right.
So, I don't know if that helps answer your particular question. I would, again, personally, be delighted if the committee were able to find a way to kind of work together and leverage, and, you know, it seems that has more immediate impact than trying to figure out the commission itself, but, so that's sort of where I am on that, if that's at all helpful. Mike, did you have?
I thought that's what we agreed on.
Yeah, okay. Did that help? So I don't know that the commission has to, I don't know what the commission's relationship should be to that committee. You know, their RSA,
Yeah,
they're statutorily described or regulated, whatever, so, you know, so we wanna make sure that they know what those what their statutory duties and obligations are, first and
It's
foremost.
jogged my memory too, was something
Yes.
else, but I'll finish this though.
Okay. So,
So do you want me to ask them to call a meeting, because they have to
which, the
elect
commission or the
officials?
committee?
Well, can't, right now, we were having the commission run the committee,
Oh, I see.
so,
Are we,
Oh,
or
is that
is it just
true?
the fact that they happen to be the same people?
Right.
they've only met once and only half the group is there.
So there's the
So-
commission that we don't actually know what the function and duty really is going to be, or what it should be, right?
Well, we
It's
did
governed by
find the
statute.
RSAs, we
So it's
found the
governed by
RSAs
statute.
and moved them along. I mean, I didn't assimilate them.
Right.
But we're more concerned at the moment with the committee.
Well, that's where yes, and I
I
don't
thought
think,
that's where we came down.
yes,
So
I don't
it
think the
just
committee.
happens to be that the people that were appointed at town meeting were also involved in
Right,
this
they are
committee.
involved in both, but I don't think that, I think the committee can function independent of the commission
Correct.
until and unless we find out otherwise.
I agree.
They've been operating that way, so I think they're fine. I would encourage the committee, just, you know, what we don't wanna have happen, I guess, is that, and it may not happen because there may be enough people on the committee who make it, we don't want all of a sudden somebody not paying attention to summer rec, and now it's
Yeah.
time for summer rec.
And there's
So
no
that
summer
would,
rec.
yeah, because we know, at least I feel confident that Denise is gonna manage, you know, it's not really, you know, that's not really a completely town thing anyway, it was, again, just a,
Exactly, everybody has their thing.
yeah,
Like-
everybody has their thing,
Like
but,
everybody, like someone's doing the ice skating, the summer fun day, the ball rec, the
Yeah.
basketball, or whatever.
Right.
And it's running really great, but without the oversight of an actual committee. Who would you like to call that rec committee to order? Because at the moment, there's no chair, vice chair, secretary.
so I can contact, Paul, who's been our primary person for summer rec, because that would be the thing that I wanna make sure doesn't slip through the drawers, is to make sure that she's managing summer rec.
It must be, they just sent out the registration form online today,
Oh, there you go,
so
okay, so somebody's thinking about it.
somebody's doing it, they're doing a great job, they're ready to go.
All right. Yeah, I can just touch base with a couple of these people. You know, in one sense, you know, and again, this is just my sensibility, you know, you wanna tread lightly, these groups have been sometimes just a person. You know, it was just a thought that, you know, perhaps they could come together in a way that would help all of them, being,
Right.
yeah. And if it doesn't, and sometimes it takes a number of years for anything to move forward. You just kind of lay the seed and kind of see what happens and,
But even if we don't do anything with summer rec this year, the Parks and Rec Commission actually has RSAs that they need to go by that they haven't been going by. And it's at no one's fault, they're doing a great job, it's been, as Ed would say, this has been the way it's always been. But, this board seems to be pulling things together little by little, so.
right. But as the Conservation Commission, they have to sort of manage it themselves. So we don't have any, just like we don't, something we have no say. I mean, we have some kind of, we need to make sure that they're following the rules, But the commission has,
And they're not supposed to be appointed at town hall, they're supposed to be appointed by us.
the commission?
Mhm. It's in the Know Your Territory book.
I mean, the town meeting does not appoint the commission?
No.
No more than we appoint, so we have the same relationship with the Rec and Parks Commission that we do with the Conservation Commission.
Correct.
And we appoint them. All right, well, that's a good thing to do, to know, yeah. In itself,
Been wrong for how many years?
yeah. That way we can ensure that we have 3 people and that we have the appropriate rotating terms.
Right.
We have someone who actually wants to do it, not just someone who gets reappointed every
Yeah,
year at town meeting.
oh, okay. That would be actually probably easier, we'd take one fewer set of minutes off the town meeting for,
There you go.
yeah, that sort of thing too. All right, well, that's good to know, thank you for that.
So you'll reach out to Paul?
Pardon?
So you'll reach out to Paul?
I will, for
All right.
summer rec, and then I do wanna go back and look at the Parks and Recs appointed by the board, that would be good to know.
Want me to send you a list?
Yeah, if you have some, yeah, that would be super, thank you. So the Stratford Regional Planning Commission is holding its annual meeting this Thursday, so the 2 Rollinsford commissioners will be there, that's me and Judy Nelson.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm doing anything else, I don't remember. So we good? So we're ready for
Yeah.
building permits?
Yeah.
Mike, looks like you're ready to rock and roll with that?
Trying to get them all in order. All right, so, where to begin? How about with one that doesn't have a number? We already did this one, that's the one, Frank Roselli's. This doesn't have a number on it, which means they didn't get it from town hall. They must have got it off of our website,
Okay.
which is something. The real plot, though. So it,
Are you gonna sign them?
Yeah, well, that's tricky, because we need to know what the next number is.
You can look it up in the book. and
Do you have the book?
Oh,
It's in the,
well, this doesn't actually have an address, yeah.
is the door open?
It doesn't have an address yet, so.
Give
And I
me
don't
a
have a key
key.
to that one, no, I don't.
Well, give me a key to go to the front door. Because it's important to have that.
Yes, it
number.
is. What?
Okay, why don't you sign this burial? You sign it right there, they've got to do. There's an occupancy permit where you sign. Don't take that one yet, we need that.
All right, so wait a minute, what am I, well, we need to wait for,
Well, we did that last week, there's a burial permit, it's in the record already, we'll sign it. Wait for somebody to come back.
Paul Street.
Hall Street.
Hmm. So is this the one that had just been a foundation for a long, long time?
We had a building permit on it, so
Yeah,
good for them.
yeah, excellent. All right, so
So it's
I
going
s-
to be 079.
All right, so Sally, I just signed, the cemetery lot
Last week.
that the board signed last week, so that's catch up. Then we have an occupancy permit here for Mitchell Putnam LLC for a single-family home on 5 Hall Street. So Tom Clark has okayed the certificate of occupancy, so I will sign it.
Ready?
Yep.
So the first is 2016-079, doesn't have an address yet, it's new construction, it's, this is just for the electrical. We've already approved the building, but it's map 1, lot 43-1 on Clement Road. It's for electrical, it will be $90.
Okay.
Save that one till last.
Is that your vote?
So is there going to be, oh, wait a minute. Diversified Builders, Clement Electrical,
Yes,
it's 078, it's in here.
but this is, that is electrical,
So,
so they forgot to put it on the permit itself.
They pulled 2 permits?
One for the building, one for the electrical?
Oh, that one says electrical.
no, it says electrical on it.
Well, why are you seeing 2?
This is the list of issued building permits.
So they're 078 and not 0, I thought would be adding them.
So change that to
Yep.
an 8 then. By the way, it's $90 that you could pay.
Yeah, you have it. right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Here.
Jerry.
So the next one we have is a holdover from last week. It's permit number 2016-069. This was a gas line being put in for a commercial stove. Mr. Clark has reviewed it, it's okay, it's good to go, it's $90.
Oh, is that 3 Front Street?
Yeah, sorry, 3 Front Street. All right. Also, 2016-075, 3 Front Street, number 319, goes along with the last one, Sami. They're doing some electrical upgrades, connecting the fans and for exhaust, $90. Mr. Clark has already reviewed.
So there's no business use issue associated?
No, it's a commercial kitchen that's just been, a vacant commercial kitchen that's being upgraded. We checked.
Makes sense.
Okay, we have permit number 2016-074, 546 Portland Avenue. Doing, it says replace plumbing fixtures and faucets. There's some very nice faucets there for $8,800, but.
Did you get your stamp?
Yeah, I'm very excited about my stuff.
Woo-hoo!
When it came in, I took a picture and sent it to him.
Yes, sure. It's $115.
Okay. Excellent.
Permit 2016-067, 83 Rollins Road, the deck that we held over from last week, approved, $65.
Okay, so what was the issue last week? We didn't
I
know.
didn't have any information as to what they
Setbacks?
were doing. They're building it allegedly right on top of this existing footprint.
Okay.
And we drive by and it's a giant tree house that goes around, wrap around porch or something. I need those ones back.
Yep.
Okey dokey, the last
And you've got the
one,
occupancy permit too.
the last one that I have for this evening is, the trenching permit for 72 Oak Street. There was some concern last week, because we didn't have enough details.
So what is that?
So it's this little tiny, you see the pictures that were sent out to them? I'll show you. You might have been on a plane, so. I'm sure.
Well, okay.
Or you might have been sleeping, and they're that as well. So, we're putting in these gas test, sites for gas for the apartment building that's on the corner of Oak Street and Rollins. So all of us were envisioning these stand-up things, these little flush things with a pavement. And it will actually be on the property of, in the right of way.
Oh,
So it won't be,
It's trenching.
well, they have to open up part of the road
Mhm.
to get it done, but it's not, and part of it will be on our part of the road, so. But it's not, it's called a test station. And so when I said test station, we were all very concerned about what that actually
What the
meant.
heck would that
It's
be?
this little thing that flushes the ground.
And what
You
does
see
it
them
do?
everywhere. I don't know. We see them everywhere. You can see it, but
This is,
Yep. Yep.
this is going towards Montgomery Greenhouse. This is what it's gonna look like in the road.
But we don't know exactly what it does, it's just kind
Or
of.
the testing station for the gas, is that your pressure?
Oh, so the gas company.
gas
will-
company's doing
Yeah,
it,
the
yeah.
gas
Thank you.
company,
Thank you.
Sorry, I
And
guess
those
we
were already
weren't-
marked off and stuff for Dig Safe.
So it says, to whom it may concern of the town of Rollinsford, my name is Donna McCarthy, and I am the corrosion supervisor at Unitil Northern Utilities. I have hired a contractor to install a test station valve box for me in the vicinity of 72 Oak Street. The contractor is MSR Utilities. We also didn't know who the contractor was.
Mhm.
I've asked MSR to handle the dig safe and permitting related to the job. Amy Anderson has my permission to apply for a permit for this job on my behalf. If you have any questions, we didn't know any of that.
Is there anything that falls under our new trenching?
No, they're in compliance now that we know all that information.
Okay.
What it says to us, though, is that our form is lacking. Because we don't have a space on the form for the contractor.
Mm-hmm.
There's no place on here for that, so we need to read this form that we thought was great from the city of Dover.
Yeah, okay. So
Not
does
so
Caroline
great.
know that?
Yeah, she knows.
Okay,
That's an issue for another evening, but that's
Okay.
why we sent this back.
all right.
But it's good to go now, I mean, we're not,
All right, so is,
now that we
So
know where it's
needs
gonna
us
be
to
and what
sign?
it is, it needs
is
to
it
be
just one of
signed.
us?
Yeah, it just says select, it just says select board, but. That's all I have. I don't know.
Extended upon said term, oh, it's not extended, so. Okay, is there anything else?
You have to fill out anything
License
up here.
first date up to and including, so do they have an end date? Can we give them the end of, what, August?
I was gonna say the end of July, I believe.
Yeah.
And they can come back,
Yeah, we can ask for an extension.
but they need, oh, you know what, no, I think we need to be, It says in there, right?
So they're gonna be done.
they have
as
to,
they can.
they have to contact us, right, to, for closing the road, blah, blah, blah. It's in there, right, but contact us, like, board
Yes.
and all that. I mean, the road agent.
And Jody, what did you just say?
They're gonna be having detail there, Oak Street is crazy, so they're gonna have detail on both ends, so they're gonna be done pretty quick. When they start, I have a feeling it'll be done fairly quick.
July 1st. Come back and see us, it's a whole month.
Yeah.
This is all new to us, so.
Yeah, it is. Okay, you get this back?
Yeah.
Have you, did you get?
Let me look, see what it looks like.
That's it.
All right, so Jody, you're on.
We did that last week, that's correspondence, just so you see it.
Okay, so can I say make some comments about the Comcast,
Contract?
yes, contract. So this is the infamous, the base contract is from 1972 or 3, I don't remember exactly when. And we have been extending it 30 years from that, so somewhere on or about 2002. We've been extending it in either 1 or 3 year periods of time without a full review of the entire contract. ACOG has, that's the Advisory Committee on Open Government, has taken this on. They have had other duties, and we haven't now met for a while, or other interests, I guess. And so in the absence of a more formal replacement of our contract, the board has just been continuing to do these extensions. So that's what we've been doing. You know, can't think of the guy from Dover.
Mike Gillis.
Thank you so much. Mike Gillis, who does this for the city of Dover, says that at this point in time, there's very little advantage that an individual municipalities, especially one our size, can extract from them. But, nonetheless, there are a few little small things here and there that we can perhaps do. And so we can just continue to do this until ACOG has more time or opportunity or interest to more formally.
How many years will be extended for?
He doesn't say, he's just contacting us in the next few weeks to
Oh,
schedule a date and time to
okay.
begin the process.
Fine.
Okay, so we'll see what they have in mind. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
That works for me.
So Jody, does that go in Jody's?
Yes,
Yep.
did you look at this one?
Just bits and pieces Carolyn showed me.
This was the first bid that Richard got for the building, we just wanted you to see the.
Oh, okay, yep, all right, so we're not gonna say it.
We're waiting for.
Yes,
the
okay.
bids.
We
But I
just know
wanted
it's
to see.
more, thank you, I appreciate it, we just know it's more than what we thought.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you notice that we already talked about going on
The
the
doors,
house
yep.
and the sheet that they're gonna fax for the brown
Oh, the one
fields.
that you filled out,
Yep.
okay, good.
The contract for Pike,
Okay.
Unitil each sent us wonderful mail.
Party favors, here's your party favor.
Oh, this goes to Patrick, you get nothing. Oh, that goes to Patrick too, I get nothing.
There you go.
Great Bay Matters magazine, spring, summer. Interesting. There is a purchase order here tonight from Kate. She would like to buy 3 half-fan flags for town hall. I'm guessing to go underneath the windows, as we have.
Bunting?
The curved ones.
Yeah.
They are 3x6 cotton flags with stars for $24.25 each, for a total of $72.75.
Where is she proposing to take this money from?
She, out of town clerk supplies.
Well, why would that come to the town clerk? Don't we have, I think we have something called patriotic purposes.
We have flags for the cemeteries.
Yeah. But wouldn't that come from the same line, even though we've only been using it largely for that? Do you have, if you look at the very end,
770. At the
if you,
end.
yeah, if you go to the very end, before the capital, it's kind of a miscellaneous, yeah, maybe go back one.
Cemetery flags Legion,
Yeah.
$900.
So, okay, so we don't see that term, but if you look at the chart of accounts of the state, this particular line falls under something that they call patriotic purposes.
Okay.
So we could, we don't actually have a separate line. So would that be introducing a new purpose if we did something like that? Perhaps. All right, why don't we take it under her line then for this year, and then we'll, although this is really a one-time thing, so I'm fine with taking it under hers or the town's, or it's kind of an unusual thing. Did you move to accept this?
Nope,
Okay. Would you like to move to accept this?
nope.
Oh, I see, that's right. Michael, do you want to move to accept this? I mean, I'm not, you know, we've got the bunting out there, right?
We
Yes.
already have it up there.
Yeah,
I thought we already had bunting.
yeah.
We do. Personally, to
It's
me,
probably
I don't,
doesn't-
I don't wanna spend another dime until, to me, as much as I love it, I love the look, don't get me wrong, I love driving down through town and seeing all the flags, I love it.
It's just a blank.
It doesn't even say anything, no, it doesn't say.
So, but until that paving's done and we get a bill, I
Well,
don't really kind of
Yeah,
stick with
so-
feet in the mud.
sure, I get that. So, which is the reason why I wanna work on the projections for our budget, with Caroline, so that we know better how to process some of these more unusual kinds of things, even though this is not very expensive. We do have stuff out there.
Tell her we just wanna hold on to it,
Yeah,
so.
yes.
It's fine.
And I'm sure they may look ratty and they need to be replaced, but,
I don't think you can tell from the road, can you?
no, I didn't notice when I walked in, so.
Yeah.
As
All
much
right.
as I love it, I just
Okay.
wanna put my.
All right, and now I'll understand what that means when the purchase order comes to me. I'm not doing this one.
Nope. Town of Rollinsford. Oh, this is our letter to 112 Rollins Road, for unregistered vehicle,
From,
from the town of Rollinsford
is
to
it, all right.
112. So,
Why don't you read it out loud? And this, Tom must have penned this, I'm guessing.
under unregistered vehicles. An inspection of the reference property was recently conducted by the Rollinsford Building Inspector Thomas Clark. During the inspection, several unregistered motor vehicles were observed. The quantity of motor vehicles appears to be large enough to be considered a violation of Section 6, Table 6.9 H3 from the zoning ordinances. Please contact Town Hall within 10 days to discuss this situation and to establish a schedule to bring the property into compliance. Sincerely, Chairman Suzanne Hurley.
Okay, we good with my signing this?
Yeah. Good off.
Okay, we're gonna copy Steve and Tom.
Long time coming.
All right, so that's step one.
Rollinsford Selectmen and Planning Board from the Pattersons.
Oh, yeah, I did read that. You want me to give an executive summary?
Yes, that'd be great.
So this is Mona and Alan Patterson across the street, across from Paul's Integrity.
Yeah.
And if you recall, if you attended some of the public hearings about Paul's Integrity,
Yeah.
they actually were concerned that the fence that the planning board was asking them to put up on,
Right.
right across from them. Is that
One of the requirements was a 6-foot-tall security fence to be erected along the Church Street side
Yeah.
of property.
Mhm.
So they said at the time that they thought, you know, that could hide some things that they may not want hidden, or we may not want hidden. And they're just reiterating that they don't think the fence is actually a good idea and may cut down visibility and that sort of thing. So
Oh, that was a requirement.
it is
for
a
them.
requirement. So the only thing that looking at that, I wanted, our only thing is to send it back to the planning board, right? That
You
letter.
can forward the letter on to the planning board, but they've already made the decision. And that's the only way the man got his, made it through site review, so.
All right, so
was
we'll just
required
forward it
having
along.
that fence, so, yeah, I don't think that.
All right, so,
Also of concern was visibility of oncoming traffic primarily from Jesse Joe Road onto the train traffic.
So the same property we've had complaints about bushes on, right? Blocking traffic speed on Church Street, so,
yes.
just on the other side of the street, so.
So they're eventually gonna put up a fence
Well, that's part of the requirement.
for their.
So we assume, but again,
Probably should have done it by now, actually.
The neighbors are pleased as it stands so far.
It's been keeping the.
so we'll just forward it along to planning?
Looks like they sent it to planning, but we can send it also.
Yeah. And to
Did they
us.
CC planning?
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if they CC planning, it came to address to selectmen and planning, so we'll make sure that it, can I post it,
Yeah.
please, that Caroline sends it along.
All right.
purchase order. Are you ready to tell me? I don't wanna go off without you. Purchase order 741 to Martha Kuchar out of the cemetery money for one Memorial Day cleanup of Doe burial ground for $90. It was labor of cleanup of $90 to be paid from the cemetery operating.
That was
That was a motion, sorry, motion, please.
Michael,
Yes.
was that a second?
I've told you that I don't care for the fact that they hire a family. I thought we had that conversation in the past, but I'll
Well,
second.
we've noted that here, I don't know if we've done anything with that.
We've had a conversation.
Is this the way?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know.
I mean, well, let's discuss it. I mean, do you want to?
We
Do you want
mentioned it in the past, so
How have we mentioned it, do you think?
he came in and we told him we weren't really pleased that his hiring family.
I don't remember that.
That was here.
It was like 3 years or 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago.
I thought we've only done it this way, we haven't really seen him.
Oh,
I mean, it's, I can understand, I mean, it's not a big amount of money, I guess, is the bottom line.
Mhm.
And we could ask for timesheets if that would make it more palatable.
Is he the only one that makes this decision? I thought there was a whole trustee.
There are cemetery trustees.
There are, but when we pass our purchasing policies, doesn't it clearly state about hiring family members, I think?
Well, the RSA's talked about contracts but they're to family members, but, yes, we could review it in that context.
I mean,
So there was a reluctant second.
I'll second it, let's get it over tonight, but it's a little irritating, because we have mentioned it in the past.
Okay.
This board may not have.
Honestly, I don't remember mentioning anything to him, anything to the cemetery trustees. I do remember certain disgruntlement from the board when this comes up, but I don't remember ever addressing it with the cemetery
Here one night we
trustees.
talked about it, okay.
All right, any other discussion?
So what if the other trustees hire her and that person recuses themselves? Because it may be the best bid.
Yes.
So I know,
it's-
I understand what you're saying, but.
From a scale point of view, it's,
I understand
It's
that from a scale
$90.
point of view, it's only $90. It's not really the point.
It's not the point, yeah. I think that,
Sure,
I understand my
I
concern.
mean, are you gonna put a job
Letter.
like this out to bid? I mean, that is the point, a little bit.
no, I don't think you have to put that out to bid. It's under a certain threshold that we had set.
Yes.
But when a husband hires his wife as the chair of the board of the cemetery trustees to do a job,
Well,
I
the
think
cem-
that should raise some
The
concern.
cemetery
by-
trustees have hired.
Okay, so let's talk about it from the board of selectmen. Your partner comes in and you hire her to clean town hall for $90 or whatever, it doesn't matter the dollar amount. Do you think that's right, or would you recuse yourself? There's only one person that ever comes in and brings bills or handles all that stuff. I mean, do you not understand that that perhaps a perception is that it's not a good idea for someone to be directly hiring a family member, whether it's their child or their spouse? I mean,
I don't disagree. It's the practical aspects of this, and it's not a person, it's a board of trustees that have hired this person who happens to be related to one of the board of trustees. It's not like other things that have happened in this town, I'm not saying that was a good thing, but it happens like twice a year.
There are like 2,600 people that live in this town. I'm guessing a few of them are qualified to clean up brush in a cemetery and cut grass. Just saying, there are other folks in
Well,
town.
shall we invite the cemetery trustees to meet with us?
It's not a lot of money, yes, I think we probably should, once we have that policy in place. We don't have a purchasing policy in place at the moment, right?
That's true.
We won't until July. I'm just raising, again, I thought we'd had this conversation once before with at least one member of the cemetery trustees.
Well,
It's not a good idea to be directly hiring family members, Because I believe it wasn't the wife the last time, it was the son.
Michael, honestly, I know that the board was not, that it came up with the board, I don't remember it ever coming up.
And it's not even the amount of money, I don't care if it was a nickel. I mean, it's just not right. I would not hire my wife to do a job for the town. I just, or I would make sure I was as far away from it as humanly possible. So that's all I'm saying.
I
It leaves
agree.
a horrible taste in my mouth to see this, and it's not the first time we've seen it, that's all. It doesn't matter how
I'm
much
not
it
sure
is.
that we've actually spoken to the cemetery trustees about that,
If
that's
you
what
don't
I'm
have a
saying.
recollection, I do, that's fine.
All right, so not to add fuel to your fire,
We have another
What's the
one?
next one?
Well, we
there's,
haven't done this one, so let's,
well,
Let me-
before you do that one, you
Okay.
might want,
all right.
can I entertain this one?
Well, this is
This
on the
one's been
floor, this
seconded
one's
and
on,
moved,
yeah,
so it's-
so let me call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is that any no's?
I'll hold off because I see this coming.
All right, so one
We
abstention?
called the vote, we need to,
Well, so you said aye, I said aye, and you abstained. Okay,
I'll say no.
okay,
say no.
okay,
So you said no to 741?
yes.
Yes.
Correct.
So who moved it then?
Jody moved it, but
You
but
moved
she's
it,
now,
but
she's
you
now
did
seeing
it,
something
but-
we're not seeing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we have two more purchase orders to Green Shadow Property Maintenance, also from the cemetery, one for New and Old Town Cemetery mowing and trimming, and one for New Town, and Old Town spring cleanup.
All right,
So my question is, why didn't this company do this cleanup?
that one was only for Jesse Doe Cemetery.
So why can't they add that as well?
I don't know why. Well, probably because there's access issues.
It's
over
actually,
there.
yeah, this is in a funny place, I don't even know where this is. It's a
All right.
small
I know
little,
it's a tiny little,
tiny little thing somewhere, so,
okay, so that was my only concern,
Okay.
is that, like, why didn't they add it to the people that are already doing the spring cleanup?
yeah.
Okay,
They probably don't wanna be bothered by,
with a tiny little
Yes.
spot, okay.
The property owner may not want them going on.
there's
the
that as
property.
well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
It's a private family cemetery, it has historic relevance. to
But
the
we
town.
have some responsibility to it, I don't understand, there are a lot of RSAs associated with cemeteries that,
Right,
Right.
they're already there, it's already
Yeah, so-
established. it's-
yeah.
Okay, so, move to accept purchase order 739 to Green Shadow Property Maintenance, out of the cemetery budget for one New Town and Old Town spring cleanup for $900.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Alright, move to accept purchase order 740 to Green Shadow Property Maintenance out of the cemetery budget for one New Town and Old Town Cemetery mowing and trimming dated 5/17/2016, which is their first mowing, for $1,345.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Our second quarter production at the hydro facility for this period, February 1st, 2016 through April 30th, 2016. This is from NL.
I never know, I think that's one of the
Email.
ones I hear.
Enel.
Only use.
Yeah.
Total production in kilowatts was 2,258,323.
And the revenue was,
Dun, 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 that's the big number we want. We have three different prices here. 22,194.44 cents.
that would be really super if that would,
$22 what?
$1,000.
And what?
22,194 $194.44.
For 1 quarter?
Total payment, that was February, they have it all in here. What was the letter for? February 1st through April.
So that's Eversource, so maybe that's Eversource paying Enel? But not necessarily Enel. So I think we get our money from Enel, so the operator.
Shouldn't it?
So they're selling it to Eversource or others in the open market. So what I recall is that we budgeted, it's not budgeted, we're anticipating, about $35,000 worth of
Right.
revenue.
Right.
And so that's about let's say 9,000 per quarter. So I'm looking for that sweet spot there. It may not be easy to figure out. Let's ask Caroline to see if she can parse that for us.
No, it's separating this out into Rollinsford Hydro, and it's giving me a bill period of February, March, and April.
But I see Eversource on the,
I
that's the
do,
part that is puzzling.
and I'm reading it as a bill, which does not excite me. So there's the lots generated. So here was the lots generated for March. Here's March, just the lots. Short-term energy payments.
So I think this is small power producer generation.
Adjustments in energy and cable payments. Is based upon the, well, I don't wanna be going down.
No, we don't owe them. We're not the ones who owe them. It could be. We'll ask Caroline.
Is that it?
Generation
too nice.
delivered, it's too small. Or is that a,
Delivery period, April, this is only April.
that's the generation delivered? Let's ask Caroline to figure out how to read these things. What do you say?
Sure.
I wonder how last year was like.
Yeah, it looks different, doesn't it? Yep.
The quarterly payment for the terms of the lease dated April 1st, 1981 is $6,338.
Maybe that's what we received.
I like the 22,000 better.
Yeah, see, so it's not a great quarterly. It could be worse, but.
Need to do a little rain dance.
We should.
Flowers are gonna need it. Okay. Post agency training site for, oh, this is for the employment.
Oh, okay, so we don't have to do anything until and unless we actually
Yep.
hire this person.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Did you see that? Okay.
This is a purchase order for the transfer station to Fairpoint Communications for the telephone line, for one line. It would,
Yeah.
This is kind of what-
Change the location, there's an email.
so $50 a month plus, I believe that's a 160 install,
I know there was an
or
email about it.
$43 a month, no install, and a 3-year agreement. That's what the post-it says. I don't remember an email on that. I remember talking about it last week.
Well, let's get more info from Caroline.
I sent us an email about it last week.
Yeah, and they had to, it wasn't gonna be.
Well, there's no, I mean, she's not, that's the,
On 5/10, let's see.
oh, I see. So she didn't fill it out because there's a $160 installation fee if we have a 1-year agreement. And it's $50 a month plus that installation. If we do a 3-year agreement, it's $43 a month and no installation fee. But I don't know if we can do a 3-year, pardon?
Yes, it says if we stay, there's, where is it, I don't, it could take several months to complete, how it works with several lines.
stay their customer for at least 1 year. Huh, interesting.
Well, let's check with the municipal association to see whether the binding, the 3-year contract holds true for something like this. That way at least we can
Yeah,
have some background information.
And I'll be a drug watch next weekend. Which would fall under that,
Yeah, it's just, but this is a question of whether we can even consider doing a 3-year contract. I don't think so either, but let's see if there's any exceptions to that. Okay,
Reconsider having a phone down.
pardon?
I think we just have to reconsider having a phone down there.
Is that more than what we budgeted?
I don't know.
We budgeted something,
I don't remember. We're tabling it till next week anyways, right?
yes, yeah.
All right, this is another letter from another family, Rick and Joanne Winter on Locust Street, about the boat races as well.
Okay, so we should respond to both of them.
About what?
The
The boat
motorized,
races.
Little model boat races.
Yeah.
huh?
The noise.
so the last name of this family is what?
Winter.
Thank you. All right.
They didn't leave an email,
Okay, good.
and that was it.
Excellent. Anything else in your folder there?
Nothing.
All right, let's ask to see if we have any input from the public before we close
I
shop.
do, I have something to say about the cemetery cleanup. It seems to me that people keep forgetting about the Stratford County workforce. I mean, wouldn't that be a perfect job for them? To come and clean up and do it for nothing?
Yeah,
It
I
could be, I
don't
don't
know
know.
how long, how many hours were involved. It could, and this is one person, so, do they,
They do little jobs, they do anything. All you have to do is describe it.
yeah. Again, it's possible if the private homeowner is not happy about that possibility either, so there's that sensibility to try to,
Yeah.
It's a good thought though.
so, but it's good, I appreciate that. So again, when, I think our next step is to finish the purchasing policy and try to meet with the cemetery trustees if we, to, kind of further this discussion. But thank you for reminding us about that. Was there an hourly?
Pardon?
It just said labor $90, it didn't say how many hours.
Yeah, I mean, that's also disconcerting. There should at least be some kind of a rate and, this kind of thing, but, all right. Anything else, any other public comment, question? Celia?
Do you have something?
Well, no, yet, I'm thinking
Okay,
possibility.
in regards to the Jesse Doe cleanup, my husband, who was a cemetery trustee, was part of the cleanup. There were 3 people who took part in it, and it was an hour and a half to like 3 hours. They left around 5:30, they got back by 7:30, 8 o'clock, so. And so 2 of them were cemetery trustees who partook in that. And the 3rd person was a family member of a cemetery trustee. So you could address that with the cemetery trustees if you'd like.
Yeah, well.
And,
Thank you.
my understanding, because I've asked to see the cemetery, is that it is on private
Yeah, where is it?
land and that it is hard to access and you have to get permission from the
Yeah.
property owners and whatever.
Where is
It
it?
is, from my understanding, along the Salmon Falls River in a wooded area.
Oh,
My husband was able to show it to me on Google Earth, but we were not able to get a clear picture because of the foliage coverage
interesting.
along the river.
How large is it, and how many burial grounds?
I don't know, but I understand where Mike is coming from, and I do, there was a group of people that went out 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, almost, a week ago last Saturday, and one of them was my husband, and then 2 other volunteers that could have gone out, to clean the First Parish or to clean the cemetery, which is on town property on the corner of, Heritage Drive. And, Rollins Road, yes. So they went out and cleaned that, and my husband was there as the cemetery trustee representative, so.
Okay, well, thank you.
I agree with the people across the street here about the fence. I know it's a planning board issue that it needs to go up. I don't have a feeling either way, as long as we can have view of the train coming, because I know I teach my kids about train safety, but I worry about people seeing the train coming through, and if the fence goes right up to the tracks, it's gonna make it difficult. I don't know.
You won't be able to go out the track because there's
Is the right of
a
way.
railroad right of way. It's
Yeah.
mostly, it was, doesn't go that far.
Anything else?
Yeah, the question, it might be a good resource to talk to Ed Charpentier, who takes care of Foundry Park, to determine what is Legion property and what is town property when it comes to like the boat races and stuff and the boat launch, because he's,
Yeah,
Good
it
thing.
is a complicated issue having to do with the water and the water level and how it used to be a road and this, that, and the other thing. That's sort of my vague recollection of all of that.
yeah. But he partakes in that. It was brought up at the rec committee that he takes care of that park, so he might know where the boundaries are. Just so that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Charlie?
I got a question. In the winter, they used to have winter jackets at the transfer station. I don't see any in the summer. Do they have any coats that they wear in the summer for the transfer station?
Well, I think we just got them t-shirts.
Coats? No, but they're gonna be
Or
issued.
windbreaks, I think they're getting windbreaker
Windbreakers,
jackets,
maybe?
aren't they?
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
Haven't received them yet.
Not
Okay.
sure.
There was a $300 line.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
And, you know,
T-shirts,
We did something for
sweatshirts. I don't
t-shirts
remember
recently.
windbreakers.
I don't know.
T-shirts and vests, I believe
Yeah.
it was.
Maybe it was
you
best.
know, I haven't seen them on it, but I haven't been down
I
there.
don't know.
Because especially
I don't
in
know
the
if they've come
summer,
in yet.
there'll be a lot more people there, and with a vest, you can see them.
Yep,
Good point.
okay.
That's it.
Anything else?
The only question I had, was there a specified type of fence for Paul's integrity?
Don't know, planning board would know that.
In this letter, it mentions height.
6 foot.
Yeah, I think
Trying
I
to
said
remember.
5.
I honestly do not remember.
Well, the reason why I say that is because if the concern is vision, chain link.
Yeah, no, it was specifically solid. Now, it could have been chain link, I'm trying to remember if they decided on chain link or vinyl. Solid vinyl to block, it was supposed to be for the neighbors actually, to block, so they wouldn't have to see all the work going on over there. So if it is chain link, and I was thinking it might have been, it had those vinyl dividers that they place in them,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's around the back where he was going to have his original proposed oil storage tank. We said, no, it needs to be inside and it has to be in a certain tub, and there were oil mitigation issues,
Yes.
so we couldn't do it outside, but I think it's a solid, my recollection is a solid fence, and it
Okay.
was and it's not, doesn't go all the way to the road, even all the way out, so it would block people's view, on Church and Main. It's just from the driveway, the driveway cut that's there on
Mhm.
Church Street, back to the edge where the building is, and there's still a large space, the whole railroad right of way.
Okay.
So it's not a very large fence, but it really was to block,
It was for visual barriers. am I
visual
correct?
barrier for residents, so they didn't
So-
have to see into.
So, I mean,
Into
we'll
this,
forward this
so-
along to the planning board and,
Alright,
Well,
there was concern that people might be able to hide something behind it, but it's only this one, it doesn't go all the way around. So, I mean, you just
Okay.
walk by or drive by and you turn your head, and you can see everything that's going on there. It was really just for the convenience of the people that are writing the.
In other words, the
The letter,
planning board was
actually.
looking at to block the view for
So
the
they don't have to be staring
beautification.
into
so
an auto
yeah.
repair facility.
All right, I was just curious.
And according to this letter, it says 5 feet, 5 foot tall fence.
The fence itself has to be 5 feet, but it's on a 2-3 foot rise.
Excuse me.
So it's actually gonna be more like an 8 foot or 7 foot fence,
Ooh,
actually. Yeah, because the land, it's on a little bit of an embankment, so it's a little higher than.
All right, just was
It
curious.
was painfully worked out with the planning board. It wasn't- This was one of the sticking points for the owner and for the board, so, and for the abutters.
I was just curious as to where it was going to
Okay,
sit.
well, was this, anything else from the public? I would say a reminder, the board is not meeting next Monday, it's Memorial Day. I wish everybody a very nice long day and a good Memorial Day.
Okay.
And we will meet again 2 weeks from yesterday.
Yes.
And there's
Back
plenty of
Monday.
Cardelli. So by consensus, that we adjourn, board?
We are
Yes,
adjourned.
thank you.
Thank you.